Okay. Um, so I'm Taylor Hill Max. I have an ability that none of my siblings have. Just like Time has max ADHD, Cupid has max bipolar, Nothing has her own abilities. Um, Taylor Swift Max has her abilities in art, and Rachel Green's have their abilities. I have an ability that none of my siblings have. My peers, my siblings, however you want to call it. My mom is home right now. She might make noise. Don't don't worry about it. Um, so we're talking about the topic of the movement, or the art and scientific movement that's happening right now, with men leading it. Um, I'm calling it. It doesn't have a name, so people when things don't have a label, which Min is really bad at, because he's really bad at grammar. He's just not good at labeling things, which you want to do as a scientist. You want to label things so people know what it is. Like a blue whale, you don't want to go, you know, giant whale, because they're all giant. All whales are giant. So you want a humpback whale, a blue whale, you can tell the difference. So you want to label things. And so I'm going to label this art scientific movement just like the Renaissance, the Enlightenment. Um, I want to label it natural selection environmentalists. That's important to put in there. We are environmentalists. We want we want to preserve nature. That's why we're environmentalists. Like Captain Planet. We want to preserve nature. But also it's natural selection. Okay? So if Rome happens to die off, just like um, the evolution of humans from the great apes, if the great apes die off, then that's just natural selection. It's not something to worship or to cry about, right? It's sad, sure, but it's natural selection. That's just what happens in science and biology, right? That's just what happens. Okay? So, um yeah, if Rome happens to die off, meaning they quit school, in a multiverse where no one dies, that's the true reality. In a multiverse where no one dies and this is just a school, Rome quit. They quit on themselves. That's how they handle tough situations. They just quit. Same with Jesus. He just quit. Same with men. They quit. When things get hard, they quit. All right? And that's just natural selection. Okay? And Darwin said it best. It's not the strongest that survives. It's not the most intelligent. Look at Atlantis. Atlantis was the most intelligent. They're not doing well. They're underground, quiet. They're not doing well. It's the one that's most adaptive that survives. It's not the strongest, which is men, and it's not the most intelligent, which is Atlantis. It's the most adaptive, which is the multiverse. We're the ones still alive. The earth is dead, you guys. I'm speaking from the multiverse. I'm not speaking on Earth. The Earth is dead. It died. It could not survive. It could not adapt. It's dead. I'm speaking from another place. I'm speaking from the multiverse. All right? And it's not sad. It's just that's biology. It just couldn't survive the extreme environment of science. It died off. All right? That's just biology. It's not something to cry about and put on a cross for Atlantis. It's not something to cry about. That's just biology. So when, for example, when Columbus came along accidentally, it's something to think about. The hero might become the villain at some point. The more you study, the hero might become the villain. So here's this goofy explorer, how I see it. He wanted to go west to go east. Is it? He did know that the earth was round based on Galileo, right? A lot of people still thought the earth was flat and thought it was crazy to go west to go east. That was a good concept, but he wanted to go west to go east. If he wanted to go west just to go west, fine. But he wanted to go west to go east. Meaning, you don't know what's out there. Yeah. For him to assume it's all ocean and you end up on the other side, it's just assumption. You don't know what's out there. Right? That's like NASA just picking a direction and go, let's just go and see what we land on. Space is dangerous. There's so many things out there. There's the asteroid belts, there's planets, you're gonna run into a lot of problems thinking that way. Like, we're just gonna pick a direction and just go. It's goofy. It's not scientific. It's not intelligent. So I see it as this goofy Christopher Columbus who wanted to go west to go east. Knowing that the earth is round is good, but it's kind of goofy wanting to go west to go east. So, so this goofy explorer, how I see it, accidentally found America in the Western history. There were already Native Americans there, but they weren't evolved. They were still territorial. Their brains haven't developed. They weren't really evolved. So, because they weren't as evolved, the introduction of Western technology wiped them out. It wasn't brutality or anything like that. It was just technology. Western technology just wiped them out. That's all it was. It wasn't this brutal how you see it in your history books. That's just technology. That's what technology does, you guys. When the iPhone came out, do you know how many phone businesses lost their business? And what, you're going to call that, what, brutality? That's just business. That's what technology does. When new technology comes in, it wipes out old technology, and along with it, the business. So the business that was already there the Native Americans got wiped out when the iPhone came along. The Christopher Columbus, the iPhone came along, it wiped out that business. That's it. That's just biology. That's just business. That's just science. All right? It's nothing to put on a cross. Okay? The Native Americans just couldn't adapt. The old phones, the old flip phones, could not adapt to what the iPhone was. Right? It's the survival of the fittest. It's very real. Okay? And so the iPhone is the one that's left standing to this day. America is the one left standing. The goofy accidental America is the one left standing. Okay? The Native Americans, they just couldn't adapt. Okay? And so, yeah, this movement and what happened with Min and his art movement, he's not much of a scientist. He's more of an artist, a pure artist. And he's great at it. He's very talented at it. Min wiped out, again, in a goofy way, in an accidental way, but still on purpose. Like Columbus knew that the earth was round based on Galileo. Min knew artistically he had a bigger brain. Right? He knew artistically he had a bigger brain, and that's going to wipe out the Native Americans. All right? So in a goofy, accidental way, again, like Columbus, he knew the earth was round, he wanted to go. Min knew he had a bigger brain, he wanted to go. But it was in a goofy, accidental way. He wiped out the old generation on his iPhone. His iPhone was so advanced, it wiped out all the old technology. It wiped it out. All right? So Min's iPhone came along and just wiped them out. And that's what he did artistically in art. Okay? And that's what happened to this day. But Min also couldn't survive. Because when the Black Panther, Taylor Black, came along, and DeRosa and the Ivy Leagues came along with their academics, it wiped Min out. It wiped out the entire earth. Because the earth was trying to adjust to the art movement, but art itself could not survive the power of academics. Could not survive. The earth got wiped out, and the multiverse went silent. On January 2nd, the earth was dead, and it went silent for a long time. And what came next was beyond academics. It was the scientific movement. All science. And the scientists or artists that propelled that movement was Taylor Swift Max, Nothing, and the Rachel Greens. Rachel Green Max, Rachel Green Jill Valentine, Rachel Green Laura Croft, SpongeBob. She's all three at once. And Rachel Green, Taylor Hill, Rachel Green. And then myself is I'm a different one. I'll get on that. But the scientific movement, everyone was watching, because even that wiped out the academics of Wakanda. You see how natural selection is just eating what is not fit to survive. Natural selection is just eating. So you see this constant just gobbling it up. So what was already there, this kind of cartoon earth, got wiped out by art, men. And then art got wiped out by academics. And then academics got wiped out by science. Okay, you see how cool it is? Natural selection is really cool. And then the last one, myself, to survive is this. It's not academic, or it's not art, or it's not being goofy. It's not art. It's not academics. It's not science. It's this thing. The power of this thing, thinking, was the last thing to wipe out in the multiverse, in our history, in our classroom, whatever you want to call it. This thing is so powerful and so adaptive, right? It doesn't have to be the smartest. It doesn't have to be the strongest. As long as it adapts, it will always win. Okay? Just like Darwin said, it's not the strongest that survives. It's not the most intelligent that survives. It's the most adaptive is the one that survives. And this is the most adaptive. And the brain is discovered, the quantum brain is discovered by myself, Taylor Hill Max. And everyone's been watching. And they're like, she's the last one. Nature's like, she's the last one. She's it. She's the big boss. The final one. All right? So yeah, the whole movement, the art movement, the scientific movement is called the Natural Selection Environmentalists, right? All these movements were environmentalists. The art were like, they are so goofy that they're creating pollution, wiped it out. And then academics came along and was like, you, the artists, are so goofy. You're creating pollution, wiped it out. Remember, they're environmentalists. And then the scientists came along and was like, you academics are so goofy, got wiped out. And then myself, I came along and was like, well, all of it needs to go because the adaptive brain is the most important. And yeah, we're all environmentalists, so that's why it's called the Natural Selection Environmentalist Artist Scientific Movement. So yeah, that's the little brief history on that, or giving a little explanation on that. But yeah, so yeah, I'm Taylor Hill Max, and I'm the one who discovered the adaptive brain is the most powerful out here in the multiverse. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick explanation on the movement and why the adaptive brain is the most powerful. So yeah.